everybody. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? I know it's like 2 or 3 days before Christmas. I'm literally kind of in denial that Christmas is actually happening because I don't know. I don't know what happened with Christmas this year, but it seemed like it just started really, really, really upon me before I knew what was going on. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Cindy Stark. I am a hospitalist practicing here in Gainesville, Georgia, with Northeast Georgia Medical System, and I am a doctor by day. But then at night, I run Soul Circle Academy, and this is a container that I created and I'm the founder of, where I bring people into a very small group setting and we get rid of trauma that was in our lives, who we told ourselves that we were because of the trauma. And it's my passion and my honor and my privilege and promise to you. Everybody who's coming in live, say hashtag live and let me know that you're here. Who's with me? I see two people on. But it's my privilege to come in here and help you guys just learn how to operate this amazing thing that's called our brain so that you don't have to. Yay, Jenny! Answer my text message. So that you don't have to be running your brain unintentionally. Hey, Deanne. And, there's just so much that goes into our brain. Our brain and our nervous system were the very first organ that God created when we became a fertilized egg. And so I always say it's in our best interest to learn how it is that our brain actually works, especially the subconscious part of it that runs 96% of the show. So, if any of you guys don't know anything about the Soul Circle Academy yet, we're all about trauma, and again, what we do on a regular basis in our lives and in our brain unintentionally. Because of who we think that we were because of the trauma that happened. The trauma is not actually what happened to us. That kind of went away right when it happened. But what the real trauma is what we have told ourselves over and over and over again, and the repeated patterns that we kind of ensue unconsciously when we don't even know any better. We don't even realize that our brain is working on autopilot, doing all these things to protect us. And I'm just coming in. I just had a really a big passion on my heart this morning to come in and talk to you guys not only about self-sabotage in general, but specifically how it can hurt you over the holidays. I know a lot of people have a lot of expectations over themselves over the holidays, and I don't know about you guys, but even if I intentionally don't watch TV shows that make me feel less than, then when I go to the grocery store, I see things on the magazine, the fronts of magazines where everyone's making these beautiful elaborate cakes, or everyone's making homemade tree skirts or things like that. And or they're traveling, everybody gets a car with a big bow on it on the top. And it just made me start thinking this morning, a lot of people, I kind of got over this several years ago in my healing process, but a lot of you guys might not have, okay? And basically, if you are, and I'm going to get into all this in a minute, but if you are running your life based on the belief systems and the programming of everything in your society, then you're running your whole life based on someone else's playbook, not your own, and you're self-sabotaging yourself to always try to be um, matching to those people, the proverbial Joneses, okay? So again, I know, uh, again, I know I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I really have a lot to talk about this morning, and I want to make sure that we get it all in. But most of you guys who are in my circle know that I suffered some sexual abuse in my own house, in my own bedroom, unfortunately, from probably ages 14 to 16. I'm not 100% sure, and I always say that trauma is not what wrecked my life. That was kind of done and over with, and that was just the event. But what happened is what the real trauma is, what I told myself, that I was unworthy of protection and unworthy of true love, and I didn't get a say so. I didn't have a voice, and I told myself that over and over again for the next 30 or 40 years of my life, and completely wrecked relationships. I wrecked job opportunities. I wrecked my own health, and now I didn't even think I was worthy of taking care of my own health. And so that's what I'm passionate about bringing to people is how to learn what are those patterns of behaviors and how you can actually live your life, how it is that you want to live your life, instead of just how these subconscious wirings that are back there that we don't even know we're back there, how you can gain access to them and you can change them so that you can have the life that you dream of. So again, 4% of our brain is right here, it's in the frontal lobe, and that's kind of running the goals in our life. And 96% is your subconscious mind, and that's what's really running the whole show. And these repeated patterns of behaviors and who we become, and the lens that we see our lives through. And that lens that we created, that's how you repeat your patterns, and you keep living like Groundhog Day over and over and over again. I have one of my clients. She is she has a belief system, and we've been working through this, and so it's just amazing to watch her get better. But she has a belief system where she's not an equal, and she's unlovable, and she has over and over again found the men that will support that pattern of belief, and roommates that will support that pattern of belief, and finally, after working through our program, she has completely gotten rid of those belief systems and gotten rid of all the negative influences and emotions due to those influences. And she's now realized, well, I can go and live somewhere on my own. She doesn't have to live through people that are just making her feel unworthy over and over again, and not listening to her, and not doing their part, and not treating her like an equal. And this is the kind of healing that you can have when you think that you that the only people out there are just people that are going to treat you crappy, and not listen to you. You just have to know there's a lot of other people out there that your brain is literally not letting yourself see. And so what we do in my program is, first we go through the influences, and then the emotions, and then the beliefs, and I'm going to get into that later. But next week I'm going to talk about the emotions, and how they are stored in our brain, because where they are mostly stored is in the reticular activating system. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to get into that a little bit later here today, and then again next week. And when we don't kind of take control of what's in the reticular activating system, that will sit there and run autopilot behavior that will make you miserable. Yeah, Jenny's saying she got freedom from self, freedom from just the trauma and the abuse that you're having to deal with inside the four walls of your own house. I mean, what a nightmare is that, when you don't think that you're any better, you don't think there's anybody else out there that can treat you better, and then you just keep doing it over and over again. So again, our reticular activating system houses our influences and our emotions and our beliefs. And I'm going to tell y'all how we think things happen, okay? I'm going to try my best to demonstrate this. So we think that we take on information with our eyes. It goes in a perfect form right through our conscious brain, and stored as a perfect mirror, a perfect image of what it. Hey Brenda, how are you doing? A perfect image of what it is in reality, and it's stored right back here in our subconscious mind. And then when we need to think about it, then our eyes and our conscious mind here is able just to pick it up just like that, as an exact replica copy of what actually and truly happened. But what really happens is that our information is taken on through our eyes. It bypasses our thinking brain, and doesn't go straight into the subconscious mind. It gets filtered through all kinds of systems, and I'm going to get into that in just a second. And then after it gets filtered through all those systems, then we delete and generalize and distort it to match onto what we've experienced in our life. And then that distorted image and view kind of gets put up into our subconscious mind, our conscious mind, to be thought about. So this is kind of how I see it. All right, here's our eye. It takes on information. All right, and that's our reticular activating system. So before it gets taken on, it goes through a filtering system, and this is every single filter that we've gone through our environment, our religious experience in life, our parents, parental programming, and societal programming. I know for me, I thought that women made a lot less money than men, and that unless you had a manual labor job, you weren't worth much, and that I was unable to get educated, because that's what everybody in my family did. And women were doormats, and they didn't get a say so. And there was this big obsession with personal appearance, and everybody was always thinking they were fat, and everybody was alcoholics, and everybody was on drugs, and that was my programming, which I lived my life through. And I just realized I do not have to live like that. I am so thankful, to the grace of God, that somehow, and I know, there were some praying neighbors that were praying for me to get out of that situation. One of them's on this call right here this morning. But and I found a way out and went to college and medical school, and now I'm still not satisfied with how I'm able to help people just in my job. So that's why I created Soul Circle Academy, so that I can help people truly get healthy from the inside out, and that starts by getting healthy in your brain. Because whether we know it or not, our brain is running all the show. And if we don't know how to run our brain, then we're just crippled. We're taken out at the knees before we even start the race. So again, so our reticular activating system, it also houses everything that we've ever gone through our influences, any kind of trauma that we've been through, any experiences that we've been through, all of our emotions and beliefs. So just imagine our eye, okay, we're taking on an image of something. Let's say it's a beautiful star that we're taking on. This is grossly simplified representation. We take on that star. There is something in our, let's just call it a job opportunity. Let's call it a relationship opportunity, all right? It is a beautiful star that we are actually seeing, that we should be actually seeing, but because it has to go through, oh, is everybody else having the video keep pausing? Sarah's saying, good morning, Sarah, and welcome to this. Okay, good. Jenny said it's just her end. Try to, if you're on a cell phone, try to get off of Wi-Fi and go onto LTE or something. See if that's what it is. And hey, Jessica. All right. So let's just say we're trying to see what we think is really, it is really a star that we're seeing. But once we go through all this filtration system, and then going through the filtering system, what we actually end up seeing is something that just looks like just a box, okay? Because I hope this is making sense to y'all, but if this star does not fit what you think, that I'm unlovable, that I'm ugly, that I'm fat, that I'll never be successful, everybody turns into alcoholics, everybody has to work hard at a manual labor job. If you don't work 12 hours a day and sweat your butt off, you're not worth anything, okay? It goes through all of that and turns into this. And then that is then sent back up to our frontal lobe to be thought about. And so we don't even have a chance to see the good jobs or the real opportunities that are out there for us, or the great men, or the great roommates, and everybody that really does show us the love and the support. We don't even see that we could be healthy and fit and full of vibrant health. Because what we see is, you're fat. Every woman suffers with weight gain in this family. When you go through menopause, you're going to gain 50 pounds. You're going to gain 1 pound a year, heck, 10 pounds a year. Like, the things that we're taught through our parents. And that's not the truth. So when you realize that your whole life has been living a box after a box after box, and really there was a bunch of stars out there, and you're realizing, I really want more in this life than what I have. And I cannot get to it. And even when I do find some of the stars, and I'll grab onto it with my little 4% of my thinking brain and my conscious brain for a few days or a few weeks, then all it takes is 2 weeks. And as soon as it goes through these belief systems, your body's going to call bull crap on that. Your brain's going to call bull crap on that. And it'll delete that right out of there too. So this right here is not the truth, all right? This is what our brains are calling the truth, this box. But there's only two things. There's truth, and there's our perception of the truth. And if you think about it, guys, the only way that you think that you know what the truth is because of how you have perceived the truth and everything else around you. And so that is how you think this right here is the truth, but really this was the truth. And when you're able to learn how to run this part of your brain, and the reticular activating system in particular is what I focus on in my healing pod, then you can't possibly ever see the stars, because all you're going to be seeing is just the squares. I hope that makes sense. I know it's a very simplistic view, but that's what God laid on my heart this morning, and it makes sense to me. Jenny says, I spent my whole life doing something like a job, just trying to make it, to respond to my happiness. I think you said something else right there that didn't make any sense. I became an alcoholic for 25 years, and now I'm going to live again. Exactly. So all you have to do is clear out that filtration system, and you'll actually be able to see the true opportunities that are out there for the having. So again, when you think that you've gone through some trauma in your life, and most people have been that are in this space right now, they have gone through some kind of trauma in their life. That you think that the trauma was what happened to you. Like for me when I was 14, well, really the trauma just began. This right here is the trauma. This is the real trauma. Every single bit of these belief systems that I believed about myself, and I was stuck in self-sabotage myself. I was stuck in paralysis. um, I'm not going to give you any specifics of my life anymore, but I do want to share with you another one of my a story from another one of my clients. I got permission from her this morning to share this story. Her name is Hannah, but she was raised by mentally ill parents, and who did not take their medicines. And then I think one of their weaknesses kind of supported the other one of their weaknesses. And then at some point early in her life, they divorced, and so she just had the one parent. And so she had like state mandated medications that she had to take, and it would kind of zone her out, the mom out, and Hannah was left to raise herself. Um, as early as age 7 to 12, she was just all alone, and she didn't go to school because no one made her go to school, and she didn't have a mom to get her up and get dressed, and she had to go into the foster system because her mom couldn't make her. She was mentally ill herself, so she couldn't take care of herself, much less my client. And so through going through the foster system and missing so much school, Hannah had this belief about herself that she's dumb and that she's not worthy of protection and of nurturing and of love. And she lived her whole life like that. So she found the one guy that would also abandon her, and that wouldn't let her speak her truth, and was uneducated. And then through one thing after another, this girl has just made, I think she made one A and two B's, and she is going to be a psychologist. She's completely on fire to help the younger generation of people that are behind her. And she has gone back to college, even though she's 32, I think, years old she is. And she has completely completely rewired and changed her life. And it has been amazing to see the confidence grow, the body posture, the nonverbal communication in this woman, because she did not believe in herself at all when she first met me. And she kept thinking that all I need is to find more processes and more people to follow and hire more people to give me accountability. But what she needed was to get rid of all these belief systems and to get rid of all the damage that was done. And she cleared up, I always say the filter kind of looks like this. She had cleared out this filter so that now she sees every opportunity in her life. And now she has, just because of her healing, she's helped other people in her family heal. And it's just an amazing thing to watch, to go from someone who was so down on themselves and thinking that the best thing they could expect was, I don't even, just to be treated like crap in a relationship. I don't even know what other kind of job she had, but now she's training to become a psychologist. It's just been amazing. So again, another thing that our subconscious mind does is it deletes and generalizes and distorts information to match what we believe in life, right? And so the reason it does that is because we do it because of a need to survive. Our body, our brain is literally faced with 6 million thoughts every single second. Not just thoughts, just pieces of information all around us. And in order to survive and actually have a life, our conscious mind here only can process 200 bits of those, 200 bits a second. So we have to have a huge deletion and filtering system that has to happen, just because otherwise, I mean, can you imagine if you were aware of every single thing that was going on inside your body, and the squirrel was right up there doing that, and that bird over there was doing that. I mean, it has to. So examples of generalizing, all right, generalizing information is, and I'm just kind of giving you an idea of how your brain works. So here I'm sitting on a chair, right? So your body's very used to sitting on a chair. Well, you're walking through the woods and you see a tree stump. Well, your body knows, because that tree stump is kind of in the same shape as a chair, that also can be used as a chair, all right? And then distorting. This is my favorite one. How many of y'all have had this? Please say me or something if this relates to you. My sister and I, we had, grew up in the same house, right? And we can see the same exact thing right now and have two different experiences of it. She will think that someone is being perfectly nice, and I will think someone is being a total jerk, because we both have our own individual, unique reticular activating systems. And then also, like me and my ex-husband, we would have our he and I, we would have a conversation, and I was saying things as clearly as I could, exactly what I needed, exactly what was on my mind. And I swear to you, it was as if I was speaking Greek and he was speaking Spanish. He could not understand anything that I was saying. It was like, like this. I don't know. No communication, no effective communication whatsoever. So that's distortion. You can see the exact same thing, and two of you can see it such different ways that you can't even appreciate what the other person is seeing. And then deleting. This is the most detrimental one. Again, if you believe that you're unworthy and you're unlovable, your body is literally, your brain is literally going to delete out any evidence of opportunities that are around you where you could be lovable. And again, I'm going to take this back to the holidays. You guys, if you think that every holiday you have to be completely bloated and miserable, you have to get sick with some cold, or whatever. I mean, I know, unfortunately, some people in my family right now have pink eye, and one person has COVID. I mean, there's just so much, I guess, expectation. I think some people, that they're just going to run themselves ragged. They're going to be exhausted, and they're going to feel bloated because they're going to overeat, and then they're going to get sick. Well, what if that is not that belief system is not what has to run your life this holiday system? What if you could still be full of vibrant health? You could still get 8 hours of sleep a night. You could, yeah, your daughter and you now, we suffer hard. Yep, because she hasn't cleared her reticular activating system. But what if you could say no? Like, let's say you had 4 parties in 1 week. What if you said yes to every single one of them, but one of them you just left? You left early. After an hour, after 2 hours, you told yourself from the beginning, I know my social boundaries. I know how much it drains my social energy, my social batteries. And after 2 hours, I'm going to leave, and I'm just going to be quiet in my own house. And I'm not even going to turn on the TV, and I'm not going to turn on any music. I'm just going to read. What if you did that? I mean, like, I don't even think people believe that they're worthy of that, of protecting themselves and their own mental and emotional health, which ends up being our physical health. I try to teach my kids this because I have a 17 and a 19-year-old, and one of them's really good at it. I'm not going to name any names, and one of them's really bad at it. But one of them doesn't realize that you can say no, and that if things don't work for you, oh, it's a holiday. You haven't gotten 8 hours of sleep since 2006. Well, maybe that can change this year. It's 2022 about to be, so we can change that for you this year. But you would have to believe that you are worthy of protecting yourself and of actually maintaining your health, right? And tell yourself that you're gonna leave that party early and get yourself some sleep. So uh, anyway, I see I'm on my last 7 minutes here, and I still have 3 pages of notes. So let me just look over this real quick. There's things I really wanted to tell you guys. Um, okay, again, deletion. I'm just going to go through that one more time, or give you another. If you don't believe me that deletion works, okay, that actually is happening in your subconscious mind. How many how many times have you looked for something in your house and you cannot find it to save your life because you're really in a tizzy? And then you go back, an hour later or a day later, and it's right there in front of you. I know for me, myself, and I look for my passports. I moved into a new place 14 weeks ago today, and I was looking for my passports. I could not find them. I looked all over, and then about 6 weeks ago, I looked right there in my closet, and they're right there. They were there all along. It's just my subconscious mind had deleted it, and or sunglasses on your head. You're looking for your sunglasses, and they're right on your head, or the keys in your hand. I know everyone has had that happen to them. So if you don't believe that you can have the job opportunities that you want, the beautiful, vibrant health that you want, the fantastic, loving relationships. And I'm not talking about romantic. I'm talking about with family and friends too. then if you don't believe it, your body, your brain, I keep saying body this morning, I'm sorry, your brain is going to delete it, and you are literally not going to see opportunities that survive. That exist. And also, if you don't believe that you're worthy of people helping you, there'll be people all around you. This happens to me all the time too. I'm my own best client. I have to work on myself every day. But you will delete support and love and help that are right there for you to help you, because you don't think that you're worthy of that support, and you're just gonna, wear yourself out and try to do everything yourself. Again, that's something else that happens at the holidays. We're hosting a big party for a bunch of teenagers tonight, and I arranged the whole thing, and I wouldn't let anyone make more than one food item, and just don't try to do it all yourself, because you're going to wear yourself out, and then you're going to end up, come January 1, you're going to be miserable and exhausted, and you might be sick, and I don't want that for you guys. We're all here. We're all here. We are the people that are the chosen ones. I call us spiritual warriors. We've evolved our souls so that we can really accomplish great, wonderful things in this world. And you don't just have to sit here and kind of run yourself by these old belief systems like that we were all raised on. I know I've really been examining some belief systems that were in my family a lot lately, and they're just so screwed up, and they were just doing the best that they could, but we all know better now, so we can do better. And when you realize that it's not efforting yourself to death, and it's not willpower, you only can muster up so much energy by using only 4% of your brain. When you realize you can learn how to harness the power of this powerhouse back here that is running 96% of the show, it's just effortless. It's just an identity that you have. You just know that you can speak up for yourself. You know that you can apologize when you've done something wrong. You know that you become more sensitive to others too, and it doesn't take any kind of strength or willpower. Like I said, it's just your identity. And I just want to reiterate: everyone deserves healing. I myself knew I didn't know how to get any healing. I had tried 40 years, so reading so many books and not being able to implement anything, hiring so many accountability partners, going to so much counseling, Christian counselors, secular counselors, Bible study, course after course after course after course. And I knew I wanted to do better in my life and be more authentically happy. But when all this filtering system back here is mucked up with other people's belief systems, and then all that you're doing with all those other courses and everything is just with this little tiny 4% of your brain, and then what's running the show is mucked up with this really messed up environmental programming and societal programming, and what you thought was normal and expected and possible for you based on your specific family, then a little tiny bit that you learn right here is just going to snap right back to match this right here. And like I said, then you'll just get the little box and not the star. And I just want to challenge you and encourage you that you guys are the healers of the world. You can heal yourself. Our body has this innate, wonderful, amazing ability to heal itself physically and emotionally. But the basis of every single bit of the basic healing from everything in our body lies right here in the subconscious mind. And there are two tools to heal it. Just people don't know it yet. I think it'll be 10 or 20 years before all this comes out into just like general public knowledge. And I've created a space here. I've created a program. It's called Soul Circle Academy. It's 12 weeks long, and we spend the first 6 to 8 weeks just doing nothing but clearing out all these influences and the emotions and the beliefs. We'll do after we do 6 weeks of every other day clearing the influences of everything that messed you up in your life. Then we'll clear the top 6 negative emotions. And then after that, a week later, you bring me your top 20 or 30 limiting beliefs, and we find the 6 that are the most influential, that once we rip those out of your subconscious mind, all the others fall. And then after that, after we get to your authentic self in your brain, then we start working on your authentic self in your body. And the last 6 weeks of the program is just really just doing a deep dive. Because I'm a doctor, because I've been taking care of patients for 30 years, I know a ton about what doesn't work. And then I extrapolated what does work. Because they don't teach you how to have good health. They just teach you how to give people medicine to make things better. It doesn't ever heal the real problem. Thank you, Jenny. Jenny says the most effective therapy she's ever had. But the last 6 weeks of the program, we just do a deep dive into immune system, sleep, holiday, and and self-love, and how to become your own. Like when you have the, I just see it, I just always have the water wheel. When you figure out the self-love piece and you're your own best support system, then everything else turns and just like falls into place. And we'll go into joy and adventure and community and love languages and all of that. But you guys, it's been my pleasure talking to you today. If you are ready for true healing and to get in touch with that true authentic self of yours, I'll drop a link down here below to book a call, or just reach out to me on DMs. I'm here all over the holidays. I'm in and all day every day. I am committed to coming in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to try to teach you guys little tips about how it is, not even really tips, it's huge truths of how it is that your brain works and your subconscious works, so that you can really live that authentic life that you deserve. And that's here for the taking. But if nobody ever tells you how to do it, then you don't know how to do it. But I'll be here next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Otherwise, I'll be hanging out in the DMs. Y'all have a great day and a great Christmas. Take care.